along the boundary where a paved bike path meets a strip of unmanaged grass. Movement often appears just after the last pedestrians pass. A deer steps out, pauses, and remains near the edge, rather than entering the open lawn or retreating into the wooded ravine behind it. This position, neither fully exposed nor fully concealed, repeats across many suburban margins. The edge offers a narrow band of overlapping conditions. Vegetation is typically denser than in maintained yards, but more varied than in interior forest. Ornamental shrubs, discarded garden plants, and early successional weeds create a mix of browse that persists through trimming cycles and seasonal planting. For a grazing animal that relies on dispersed, regenerating food sources, these plant communities provide steady intake without requiring long travel distances. At the same time, the built environment alters predator dynamics. Large predators that depend on uninterrupted cover tend to avoid well-lit streets, fences, and regular human activity. The absence or reduction of these threats changes the risk landscape, but it does not eliminate danger. Domestic dogs, vehicles, and sudden human approach remain unpredictable hazards. Staying at the edge allows rapid assessment in multiple directions, open sightlines toward streets and yards, and immediate access to cover if retreat becomes necessary. Movement patterns reinforce this preference. Suburban layouts fragment continuous habitat into pockets separated by roads, walls, and noise corridors. Crossing these barriers requires exposure and timing. Edges function as staging areas where deer wait for low traffic intervals, test wind direction, and monitor sound levels before committing to a crossing. Individuals that use these margins can reduce time spent in high-risk transit zones, while still accessing scattered forage patches. Energy budgeting also plays a role. Interior forest areas in developed regions often support less understory growth due to canopy shading and invasive plant dominance. Lawns provide abundant vegetation but are frequently treated, mowed, or suddenly occupied. The edge balances these extremes: enough plant diversity to sustain feeding, enough cover to rest briefly, and enough visibility to detect approaching disturbance. Remaining here minimizes the energetic cost of repeated flight responses that would occur in more exposed settings. Seasonal pressures sharpen this pattern. During late summer and early autumn, ornamental plantings reach peak growth, while human outdoor activity begins to decline after dusk. In winter, plowed pathways and salted roads expose new plant material and create accessible travel routes through snow. The edge adapts to these shifts, continuing to provide a corridor where movement and feeding can occur with moderated risk. Over time, repeated use establishes informal routes. Trails appear along fence lines and drainage swales, not because these are optimal habitats in isolation, but because they connect edge segments into a network of viable passages. Each segment supports the next, allowing deer to navigate fragmented terrain while maintaining access to food and cover. Seen from the bike path at dusk, the deer's pause at the boundary is not hesitation but a stable strategy. The edge persists as a functional zone where constraints food distribution, human disturbance, barriers, and residual threats are balanced in a way that allows continued movement and survival within suburban landscapes.